And we are live. Welcome to another episode of Balling in the Boot. I am your host, Jace LeJeune, and this is our week 8. It's pretty crazy that we're getting to that point, guys. Week 8 of Louisiana High School Football, and we got a lot to talk about. We'll have 2 hours to do it. I'll be on through 1 o'clock this morning talking about some of the biggest games that have happened over across the state. We'll have some coaches come in on the show as well. I'm going to be hitting them up pretty soon too. So this is the first time we've had the show live on Facebook, and we would usually upload it on YouTube and X after the fact. But we're trying something different. So we are right now we're live on 3 different platforms right now. So we're live on Facebook, we are live on X, and we're live on YouTube. So I appreciate everybody that has tuned in, and we're going to recap some scores. We'll get some input from some coaches as well, and talk about week 8. So before we do that, make sure everybody that's watching, make sure to share this out, make sure to like it, make sure to share it, and make sure to share it out. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on our social media channels if you haven't. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, on X, Instagram, whatever, as people are flying through. Now, if you have a question, if you have a score, you want to talk about a particular high school football team and what they're doing, make sure to comment below in the comment section, and we'll make sure to get your thoughts on basically what happened in week 8. I'm gonna make sure to do that. I know we'll have Roman coming on pretty soon to talk about the game that he was at tonight. And yeah, it's going to be a really fun show. Bear with me, guys, as I'm actually texting coaches right now to come on the show. So just bear with me. While I do that, I just want to say I want to thank our sponsors here, Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding. Appreciate all their support of Louisiana High School Football. We can't do it without Tommy and his crew, over 20 years of experience. So make sure to go see Tommy. And if you're trying to get your windows replaced, doors, sidings, you name it, make sure to go see Tommy at Tommy's Windows.
Doors and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly.
Thanks to Tommy's Windows. Appreciate all their support of Louisiana High School Football. And yeah, for supporting us and our show. Bear with me, guys, as I am texting some coaches right now. The thing is, what's really, really cool about this show is you never know who's actually going to pop on. It can be any coach at any moment. We've had some really great coaches come on the show. And, yeah, we've had maybe, I would say, probably around your average, probably around 4 coaches per show. So we're definitely looking forward to see who's going to pop up tonight. And we got a lot of scores we're going to break down. Like I mentioned, guys, if before we go into the scoreboard, before we talk about some of the scores, if you have any comments, we want you to interact. I mean, it makes my job a lot easier. If you want to interact with us, if you have a comment, we'll make sure to bring that on the show and bring that up. But man, I'm not sure if anybody was at a game tonight, but I went to go see Turlings Catholic. It was kind of the Chapanche Bowl, the return of Dane Chapanche. You know, he was the former head football coach at Turlings Catholic, and now he made his return back to Turlings Catholic. Now he's at East Ascension as an assistant coach, and there were a lot of storylines in that football game. We'll talk about that game as we go a little further in the show. But that was a big win for Michael Corville. You know, he's a first-year head football coach, and I kind of joked with them after the game that Yeah, 8-0 as a head football coach. It seems like it's pretty easy, right? But yeah, but he says not. He's making it look easy, but that's what happens. You have a veteran quarterback now. Alex Munoz got a veteran offensive line. Excuse me. Yeah, you got a great defense. Defense that turned the ball over, forced a couple turnovers tonight, 4 turnovers Catholic. So yeah, that was a big win for them tonight. All right, here's Patrick. Patricia. I'm sorry, Miss Patricia Noel. How about them Pickering High School Red Devils with their 29-6 win against Pine Prairie? That's awesome. For Pickering, I know it's been kind of tough in years past, but that was a great win for the Pickering Red Devils to get a win over Pine Prairie. Huge win for the Red Devils. Congratulations to them. And yeah, I appreciate Miss Patricia. That's what it's all about. If you have a team you want to recognize and on the show, make sure to comment below. We'll make sure to do that. And we're gonna have our first guest on tonight, Roman Clark. Roman, what's going on, man? You're actually live right now, not only on Facebook but on X, on YouTube. So we're adding a couple of different dimensions now. We got a lot of people tuning in right now. So it's a great one to talk about. First of all, Roman, it is Ascension Catholic, and it is North Iberville, pretty much for the district championship. North Iberville was coming in with a lot of confidence, undefeated going into this football game in their second year of varsity action. Meanwhile, you go and look at Ascension Catholic, saw them earlier this year, kind of gave them bad luck. I gotta admit, they lost to Dunham in that football game, but I did also call their game against Episcopal, and Trevin Simon. He's been crazy. I mean, I'm sure he had a crazy night. But first, talk about the game, and Ascension Catholic won tonight, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they won 50-28 tonight.
Okay, 50-28. So that is your final score there tonight. Ascension Catholic, 50-28. Roman, obviously you were there. You had the best seat in the house for this one. So break this one down. What played in the role for Ascension Catholic to get the win?
Well, Ascension Catholic, they absolutely, their offense was death by paper cuts.
Okay.
They just kept running the ball straight through the middle. And they're the type of team that just runs it down your throat, and they're just constant pressure. You talked about Trevin Simon earlier. He had 2 touchdowns on the day, and he was a real workhorse tonight in their offense, especially in the first half. He scored both of his touchdowns in the first quarter.
Okay. I know you're part of a Gridiron Football Player of the Week show, and he ran for like 500 yards last week. I don't think he had exactly that against North Iberville. But talk about Trevin. I got to see him play, and the running back that played before him, Roman, Chad Elzey, who set all kinds of records at the school. He played in our bowl game last year, and he's doing some great stuff at Kentucky State. And it looks like, okay, who's going to replace him? And it seemed like Trevin Simon is doing that. What impressed you most about him tonight when seeing him play?
He was a real north and south guy. I mean, he was breaking through contact. He was real physical. They were running him up the middle plenty. So just his ability to bounce off contact, break tackles, and really just make the defense feel him throughout the entire night.
Yeah, talk about the defense and how they perform, because I know they've had some tough challenges this year, and they play against a great player. You actually did an article about him on our website, gridironfootballusa.com. A guy that I've covered a long time, played in our 8th grade game, and it's kind of crazy. He's already a junior. But BJ Brajean Melanson. So talk about him. Give me an update how he did tonight.
He was showing out. They were definitely looking to hit him early, and there were a few misses, but then he ended up getting his. He scored 2 touchdowns on the night, and I think it was a real strong performance from him. It's just really the connection between him and his quarterback probably needs a little bit of work on the connection.
I got you. And overall, what really impressed you about Ascension Catholic tonight?
That Ascension Catholic defense. I mean, they were stifling North Iberville the whole time. North Iberville had 8 points until the fourth quarter. They scored 20 in the fourth. So it was really a strong defensive performance. Von Blancard, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He had a forced fumble and also an interception that ended up being a pick six, but he didn't score it himself. He actually pitched the ball at the goal line after the interception. So just a
Okay.
real big play from him. And then that fumble recovery was also a massive play for the team.
Definitely, and a big win. For sure. I'm going to talk about Coach Taylor James, and I was talking about first year head football coach earlier, Roman, in Michael Corville, but it seems like a young guy can relate to a lot of the players. You kind of see that energy on the sidelines, and seeing how they play. Especially, this is not the biggest level of football. It's kind of like the 1A level. We talk about Ascension Catholic and in North Iberville. But before I talk about North Iberville, Ascension Catholic, just moving ahead again, a big win, a statement win for them. What do you think about this team, and what kind of damage you think they can do moving forward as we start to kind of eye our way to the playoffs?
I mean, I think they'll absolutely be a real true contender. That offense was definitely slower. They were still able to get off to a good start. They scored 14, I believe, in the first. Yes, they scored 14 in the first. And I just really think if they can get their offense to score like they were in that second half, they're going to be a real problem in that playoffs because both sides were, suffocating.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like it was, and then finally, before I know we got a coach coming up momentarily right after you talk about his big win, but Roman, what about North Iberville? Because they're coming in undefeated, special season, have a chance to talk about district championship. Maybe going 9-0, maybe 10-0 was maybe a goal for this team, and now you lose. About them and what do you think about them trying to bounce back after a defeat tonight?
I mean, if you look at the sideline, they felt this win for sure. It was a devastating one for them. So I think they'll definitely bounce back for this next game. I don't think you get 7-0 just out of nowhere. So I think they'll definitely be prepared for this next game, and we'll see a strong performance from them.
Absolutely, Roman. Yeah, good job, man. Keep up the good work, and I know you'll have a game recap about this, so make sure to go to our website and follow that at gridironfootballusa.com. I appreciate you, Roman.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me as always.
Absolutely, Roman Clark, Gridiron Football. Appreciate him of jumping on board. Like I told you guys, you never know who's going to jump in our show with coaches, and we got ourselves our first coach of the night, a victorious head football coach, Coach Shiver. Let's see if we get Coach Shiver on. What's up, Coach? What's going on
Jace.
after a big win?
Try to get my heart rate to slow down, Jace. It was an unbelievable win, man. It was back and forth all night. It's a great game.
Absolutely, Coach. I know it was high up there. What ended up being the final score tonight?
52-50.
52-50, man.
Yeah, we won in overtime. Yes, sir.
You picked the over, Coach?
I did. I took the over, so I won a little money tonight. It was good.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Coach. Well, a big win. It was against St. Charles Catholic and Catholic Point Capee.
Yes, sir.
I was at that game last year, and I gave y'all bad luck. And I think a big reason y'all came up on top tonight, I didn't screw up with that mojo. So
I'm glad you didn't come, Jace. Thanks, man.
Absolutely, Coach.
Yes, sir.
52-50 against Catholic Point Capee. Catholic Point Capee was the defending district champions, and we talked to Coach Carruth a lot about the district and how tough this district is from top to bottom. It's like the SEC West every single week. But
great,
finding a way in overtime to get this win. Y'all scored a lot of points, obviously this year, last couple of years. But what really played key tonight and ultimately getting your team to win tonight?
Wyatt Dubois, man. Wyatt Dubois had 5 touchdowns tonight. Nathan Driggs had 140 yards rushing. Our other running back, Cooper Bearzot, had 50 yards rushing on 10 carries. I mean, we ran the ball well. We still threw for 150 yards. Nathan Zonberger had 150 passing. I mean, it was an all-out offensive night. I mean, they have a great offense too. I mean, they have Morrison, their quarterback, number 12. He's a player, man. I mean, I think Wyatt Dubois and him are probably two of the best players in the district, probably two of the best players in single A football. So it was back and forth. But when we got to overtime, we run a special package from the 10 yards in, and it's Wyatt Dubois right and Wyatt Dubois left, and a couple of things off of it, and so I knew we had a good chance. But they got the ball first, and they scored, and they didn't get the 2-point conversion, and we got the ball, we scored, and we got the 2-point conversion and won it.
Yeah, I mean, for your team, how much was motivation throughout the week after a loss last year, and just this year, a lot of guys are on last year's team, and how much of that was I guess, like, talked about or brought up throughout the week?
All week, Jace. Every breakdown was 25-22. That was the score last year. We lost, and they knew it mattered. I mean, they knew it was important, and we had to win this one to set up a district title week 10 against Westminster. And so we did our job, man, and now it's all going to come down to week 10 and see what happens.
Yeah, that should be a good one. Get your popcorn ready for that. Westminster's having, I mean, every single year they're getting better and better, and they're having a special season this year. But you talked about Wyatt Dubois. I mean, I know that's a guy we invited to play in our bowl game at the end of the year that you've always been a part of and really helped out a lot with us over the years. But you talked about being he was a key factor tonight in helping y'all get the win. Tell me about really him and why he's
11 tackles tonight. My man had 11 tackles tonight and 5 touchdowns. It's a pretty big night.
Yeah, I think he's on that Gridiron Football Player of the Week watch list with a stat line like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
5 touchdowns, and like you mentioned, where do you see him, because he does so many things for your team? What fit do you see him, because he's so versatile at maybe the next level? Where do you see him?
I think he's an outside linebacker or a strong safety at the next level. I mean, he's just got a great defensive mind, man. I mean, he has 93 tackles on the season. We still got 2 games left. We use him as a middle linebacker. I mean, so I can't put him at a running back and leave him at a running back, because he's he was the MVP of the district last year for defense, So he's our main defensive weapon. But in short yardage, there's nobody better. And then last week against Sacred Heart, we opened up in that heavy set, and my man took it 50 yards for a touchdown. And he had 4 touchdowns last week in that game, and he had 18 tackles last week. So that just tells you he can play. He's a player. He's got a good mind for football. I mean, people are missing out. If you haven't seen him play, he's special.
Absolutely. Go see Wyatt Dubois play, and looking forward, hopefully, see him at the end of the year after the season's over and in the bowl game, and get a chance to showcase his talents there. Talk about your quarterback, Nathan Zonberger. I know he's kind of waited his turn. It was, after Kane West was really the guy for y'all the last couple of years, and he's just been kind of just sitting there, the last couple of years. But, it seems like this offense has not skipped a beat, hasn't lost a beat. And talk about him and how he's really played this season and led y'all.
Well, he's doing great, man. I mean, I think right now he has almost 1,700 yards passing in the first 8 games. He has only thrown 2 interceptions on the season, and man, he's just so smart. I mean, Nathan's a 4.0 kid. He's going to probably be valedictorian of his class. I mean, he's a good leader. And you're right, man. He sat behind Kane. Kane orchestrated the best offense in school history. The last 3 years, we were averaging right at 52 points a game last year. Well, this year we're averaging 53 points a game this year. So it just tells you, man, I mean, the system works great, and Nathan runs it really well. And, Nathan was actually our defensive end last year, because he couldn't play quarterback. Well, he plays a tight end on that heavy set, man, and he had a great block tonight. He pancaked one of their defensive ends to get us on the 2-point conversion. So that just tells you right there. He's a heck of a player. He's a team player. And, he's the kind of guy you want around, man. Great player.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, really, as a team, getting that stop, that's a big way for your defense. Obviously, 52, 54, you're going to talk about, but in the end, your defense made a play when they needed to, and just trying to play complementary football. And with the offense, how they've been scoring all year, you get your defense, get a couple stops and some timely stops. It's pretty tough to beat this team.
It is hard, man. I mean, you gotta control the clock. You gotta control the ball and keep it away from us, because our offense scores. a lot of points. And our defense, man, I mean, sometimes we run a bend and don't break. We have a lot of, this. We graduated 17 seniors last year. Mm-hmm. And we replaced a lot of people, man. And a lot of sophomores on the field, a lot of juniors on the field. And, our seniors right now are great leaders, and they're carrying us. And sometimes we'll make a lot of sophomore mistakes, man, and so we give up a lot of points. But so far to date, except for that Opelousas Catholic game, which I wish I had that one back. I'd like to see what happens. But I tell you what, we've gotten better every week, and we're right there, man. I think, just playing for a district title week 10 right now is fantastic.
Yeah, and like that kind of worked the other way. We talk about the team, that loss lingering from last year and getting revenge on Catholic Point Capee. The same kind of effect with Opelousas Catholic. You beat them last year. Dramatic finish. It was an entertaining football game. And the district, I mean, that just kind of leads into my question about this district and how really tough it is. I talked to Coach Mathern about it when he was on the show a couple weeks ago, and it's just you have to be ready every single week. There's not really a true weak link in this district.
Well, think about this, Jace. Every team but one went 4-1 in their non-district schedule. 4-0 in their non-district schedule. So that just tells you right there. I mean, and we all played up. We played bigger schools and everything, So it just tells you right there we got a tough district. And then we got in here, we started beating each other up. And really, we had talked about it before the season started. We said, man, 2 wins might still win the district, because if we're going to beat each other up like this. And at one point, there was 5 teams ranked in the top 10. I mean, that just tells you where we were at, So I don't know, man. I think, we've been battle tested, but we survived. And, I think our workout program is a real testament to our no injuries at this point, no serious injuries. We got some lingering injuries everybody has. But next week we play Bolton for homecoming. And we'll get the rest of a couple guys, and then week 10, man, we'll be ready to put everything on the table for that one last game and a chance to win a district title in the hardest district in 1A.
Yeah, you mentioned hardest district in 1A, and not only you have to get through the hardest district in 1A, but Coach, you might have to play in the toughest bracket that there is in the state of Louisiana.
Division 4 is always hard.
From top to, it's always hard in Division 4 select, but just try and get your team just every week kind of approaching a 1-0 type of mentality every single week. And like you mentioned, you got homecoming next week against Bolton, and then there's that big game everybody's circling for the district championship between St. Edmund and Westminster. So what is really the focus with this team after you're kind of in a in-between spot? You're coming off a huge win against Catholic Point Capee, and then also not to really kind of get the other eye looking ahead to that district championship and just focusing on the task at hand with homecoming and a lot of the outside noise as well next week.
Well, in previous years, we always big junior, senior war, homecoming crazies, and all this kind of stuff. But I was walking up to the field house after the game, and I had 4 of my seniors meet me outside and said, Coach, we're going to do film on Sunday. So they're already ready, man. They're focused in on winning this district, this is the group of that were juniors last year that were really, a lot of guys that played. A lot of those juniors played with that other group, and we went 9-1 last year and made us a little run in the playoffs. And and so they know they got a chance. They know we have a chance to get there. We want to get to the Dome. We haven't been ever to the Dome. We've been to the state championship before, but it was like in 1960 and 70. So it's something that our kids are. They'd love to get there. I'm not looking ahead of anybody, but it's a dream of ours. It's something that we it's a goal we circled at the beginning of the year. Let's just get there. And so hopefully, man, listen, the good Lord's willing, we're ready to work.
And kind of leading into that, Coach, trying to get there, right? Y'all made deep playoff runs before, just trying to get to the Dome and compete for a championship. From what you've seen from this team, what do you think this team needs to do in order to accomplish that goal that you preached of before the start of the season and getting to the Superdome at the end of the year?
We got to grow up. It's got to keep growing up. Those younger guys, and especially our secondaries, just got to grow up a little bit more. But we're close, man. We've been working. We've been working every day. We have 13 guys power cleaning 225 right now. We got the strength to get where we want to go. We just got to get the little technique down, and we got some great coaches, man. We work hard every day, and I know the boys come and work hard every day. And I'll tell you this: we'll be ready next week, and we'll be ready the following week for that district title.
Oh, it's gonna be a fun one, Coach, and obviously the game was played at home. With the game against Catholic Point Capee playing at Point Capee last year.
Jace, that's 14 years That's 9 games they've beaten St. Ed's in a row in over 14 years.
Wow.
And so that monkey's finally off our back, man. And I tell you, we've been talking about that for a while. And before the game, we were talking about it, and I said, we just got to get that monkey off your back, and then good things will happen. I really thought Caruth had a voodoo doll for a while. So,
yeah. Maybe one of the coaches took that voodoo doll or something. I don't know what happened. Maybe
I'll take it. Anyway it happened.
I'll take it. Side tonight.
That's right, Jace. That's right. So.
Yep. I'm trying to think. We'll see what else before we can wrap this thing up, Coach. I'm sure it's still rocking over there, huh? Over in Eunice.
So right across the street is the pavilion. They have a group over there cooking, and I can hear the music playing. We're in the field house right now, loading the film for next week, and I'm like, although the coach was like, I'm going across the street to get some food. So yeah, it's rocking and rolling over there. I mean, like I said, huge win, man. I couldn't get the people off the field after the game. It took us 30 minutes to get inside the field house. So great win.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of crazy how the tables turn. It's basically kind of how it was last year. Yeah, at Point Capee. I mean, I think nobody left that game. Nobody left that stadium after, and I know that effects is happening at St. Edmund right now in Eunice. So, Coach, just any final thoughts before we let you on your way? I know you're just soaking it in, enjoying this win because like you mentioned, with being the losing streak and being a really good, respectable program in Catholic Point Capee, I know this was a big one that y'all had circled at the beginning of the year.
Huge win, Jace. Final thoughts, man. I just want to tell you, thank y'all for what y'all do. Without you guys, the rest of the state couldn't hear what's going on all over the state. So all the media, shout out to you guys, and shout out to you, Jace and Andy, for what y'all do for these kids, man. And then I want to shout out also to our booster club, man. Thanks for all they've done. I mean, they're out here all the time working. In fact, they started redoing our practice field this week so we could have it in the springtime and be ready. So I mean, they just work hard, man. I mean, and we're happy to, they say those who've been given much is expected. Well, our boys put out tonight.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, we'll go enjoy it. Have some fun tonight. Maybe not too much fun, but have some fun tonight, Coach.
Thanks, Jace. I sure appreciate it. Have a good night.
Absolutely, Coach Shiver, winning head football coach tonight for St. Edmund. What a win for them! 52-50 in overtime, by the way, over Catholic Point Capee. Remember, I was at that game last year, and St. Edmund fell short. It was a great football game like this one was. 5-point game, 25-20 last year. A lot more high scoring this time, 52-50, and it was St. Edmund finally, like Coach mentioned, getting that monkey off their back and getting a win. So shout out there to Coach Shiver and the rest of the team and the rest of the St. Edmund Blue Jays. That's going to set up a really great district championship at the season finale, Week 10, when St. Edmund will play against undefeated Westminster Christian. So, Mr. Wallace, looks like the Flyers are still on the roll. Yes, they are. I see that. 8-0 on the season. I'm very curious what Bryce's stats were tonight. Bryce Restovich, the quarterback over there at Loyola Prep. I'm sure he went off. I mean, right now it's kind of like if you go throughout the state of Louisiana, those quarterbacks up there in North Louisiana, you got him, you got Pop Houston and Baton Rouge, you got Elijah Haven. They're all kind of gunning right now for that top passing spot in the state of Louisiana. And I know that Lewis's son Ian, he's the starting center over there at Loyola College Prep, and he's doing a lot of great things over there. And Ian's going to be playing in our bowl game at the end of the year, so we're going to talk about that, our Gridiron Football American Bowl game, obviously, as we go closer. They won the football game tonight, 54-26. So they are one of the few remaining teams that are still unbeaten right now. They have not lost a game yet. Still 8-0 on the season is Loyola College Prep. So shout out to Lewis Wallace with a comment. Appreciate Mr. Wallace chiming in, giving us an update on those Flyers up there at Loyola College Prep in Shreveport. Guys, like what Mr. Wallace commented earlier and Miss Matricia commented earlier as well, make sure you have to comment and interact. Mr. Wallace got another comment. They may have been a little lower than normal. It was a very physical game. And, hey, that's what you need, and it's great to have a great offensive line. Help it lead the way with with Ian leading the way up front as a starting center for the Flyers. And you're going to need a kind of a game like that, especially nothing's going to be perfect. I mean, you're going to have your off games, and you're going to need your running game, your defense to step up. I mean, look at I say this example all the time. Look at that 2019 LSU football team, how unstoppable that offense was. Even they had some moments, right? The 2019 Auburn game, things didn't go exactly perfectly, like it was. The offense wasn't clicking on all cylinders. So you won't have a game like that, and they still won the football game by what, 26, 28, 54-26. So fantastic performance there from the Flyers and their team, man. Don't overlook 8-0 on the season. They're on the roll. Still one of the few undefeated teams still left in the state of Louisiana. And we're going to see if we get another coach on board. I'm texting a couple coaches already. But before we do that, we're going to go to our Louisiana High School scoreboard, and we're going to recap. I know a lot of people are kind of wanting to know what are some of the scores around the state of Louisiana. So we're going to go and pop that up. I'm sure a lot of people are curious. I'm curious. There's going to be a lot of scores on there that I'm just looking at for the very first time. So let's go to our Louisiana High School football scoreboard. Guys, if you have a score that you want to report, feel free to chime in, and we'll make sure to do that. And if you have a comment or just a general observation about your favorite team, make sure to comment below as well. So let's get this going, our Louisiana High School football scoreboard. We're going to start off with Haynesville. Haynesville, the Golden Tornadoes, one of those teams that are still undefeated. They are still rolling right now. They have a 54-6 win over Arcadia. So the Golden Tornadoes able to get things done tonight. They are 8-0. They're a team that a lot of people are going to be looking at to make a run in the playoffs and possibly for a state championship. Remember, they lost in the Dome the last 2 years trying to get back, and this time trying to win. Jules Sumner, another team that is undefeated. Basically, Coach Ross is doing a great job with the Cowboys. I saw them play earlier this year, and it was against Franklinton. And that was a classic game a year ago. Franklinton won that football game. You saw how Franklinton rode that momentum from that game to get a number 1 seed and a state championship appearance. And it looks like this has happened the opposite way here with Jules Sumner. Jules Sumner is still undefeated. They defeated Franklinton this year in overtime. And this time they beat a really good Pine football team, 41-14, to get the victory over the Pine Raiders. Saw Pine play last week against Amy. You can actually see the highlights of that game on our website at gridironfootballusa.com. But 2 straight losses for the Pine Raiders, but you can't hang your head down with those 2 teams they played. That's a tough stretch when you have to play Amy and then you have to play Jules Sumner and turn around and play them. But I know the Raiders are going to bounce back. Iowa, I believe they are still undefeated, 51-22. They are 8-0. They're looking really strong, even from the very beginning. We had Coach John on our show in week 1 for Ball in the Boot show in week 1, and they defeated Jennings then. And it seems like they play a couple out-of-state teams, and they're still rolling right now. And they have coming off a 51-22 victory over Eunice tonight. How about this classic, man? 55-52, which really doesn't shock me too much when we talk about these 2 teams in Sandmall and Live Oak. When you have a quarterback like Cooper Babin for Sandmall, Caden Jones on the other side for Live Oak, they were going back and forth. But with these 2 offenses and the numbers that they're able to put up, it doesn't really shock me how much of a high-scoring game that was. With Cooper Babin, Caden Jones going right at it. Sandmall, that was a tough game last week. Rivalry game is one of the top rivalry games in the state. If you haven't seen it, it is Sandmall and it's East Ascension. and East Ascension was able to hold on to that win. They were able to get a stop on a 2-point conversion attempt. It was a dramatic game, so it's really great to see Cooper Babin and the Gators bounce back. They are going to be dangerous with him under center moving forward. But big win there for the Gators of Samaw, 55-52. St. Frederick, they actually had to go and play Cypress Christian out of Houston, Texas. They lose tonight, 35-21 out of state. Westminster Christian Lafayette, they got a forfeit from tonight's game and was able to get the victory over Gaydon. West Monroe continuing to roll, man. Ever since that win over Catholic High, this team is just building up more and more steam. They're just getting, hotter and hotter as the season goes. And they're racking up wins. You beat Catholic, you beat Ash, and you just keep rolling and rolling. And it seems like Coach Dodge really got his footprint on this football program, and they're just improving after each and every week. You're seeing that they win decisively over Pineville tonight, 49-17 for the Rebels of West Monroe. It's been a tough season for Vermilion Catholic, but a very impressive one over Opelousas Catholic tonight, 50-13. Big win for Coach Brock Prejean, and it's just been that type of year for him. Yet you kind of have to find your identity again. This is a team in Vermilion Catholic that's had to replace probably one of the most productive players in Louisiana high school football history in Jonathan D'Artes. And for them to, it's been a little bit of a learning curve because he was pretty much majority of your offense, right? And you just have to find your identity. And this is a big win. Like we just talked to Coach Schott of St. Edmund. St. Edmund got a big district win. St. Edmund's only district loss this season was against Opelousas Catholic. And this is a really talented Opelousas Catholic football team. So impressive performance for the Eagles to get a win like that. 50-13, your final score. Very impressive victory for the Screaming Eagles over there at Vermilion Catholic. Tioga, they're still rolling. Case Malone's having a really good season for the Indians at the quarterback position. And, hey, don't overlook Tioga. They're looking really strong this season. 49-6, Tioga gets the win over the Peabody Warhorses. Franklinton gets the win over Pearl River tonight, 42-20. Speaking of really good quarterback, Jacob Crane, I know he's going to play in our Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game. And he's one of the best quarterbacks in the state. Remember, this is a team that was just you can say maybe a play or two away from winning the whole thing. They were in the Superdome last year, and Coach Salt even said, even after losing the state championship game against Cecilia, that this is a team that's probably this year that maybe even be better on paper than last year's team, which is kind of crazy to think about when you think about that team and what give a run they had last year. But Franklinton gets a win tonight, 42-20 over Pearl River. South Plaquemines gets a 32-23 win over Country Day. Big win there for Coach Feet and South Plaquemines. That's a really dangerous team over there at Country Day. They've actually scored a lot of points this year. They're really explosive on offense, and they can do a lot of damage. They can really put a lot of stress on opposing defenses, and you saw that tonight. But South Plaquemines, the defending state champions, kind of still flying on the radar a little bit, but big win there for the Hurricanes, 32-23 tonight. All right, we have Riverdale. Riverdale having a pretty good season this year, 42-7 over West Jefferson. We have Delhi Charter getting a 52-34 win over Madison. Central, how about this game? We had Coach Jimmy Zachary last week for Liberty. He was on the show after the game. And remember, last week they defeated Zachary. So what was in store? You had a team that was coming off a big win in Liberty, and you had a team that was coming off a disappointing loss to Catholic and Central. So how did these two teams react? And it looked like Central was the more motivated team tonight. They took care of business and really pulled away from Liberty, 49-14, big win, a bounce back win there for a dangerous Liberty football team that just knocked off Zachary. But Central was able to get the job done, win that football game by 35, and that was a good bounce back victory there for the Central Wildcats, 49-14. John Curtis takes care of business, 37-10 against Jesuit, and that's going to set up what should be a very fun one next week on Halloween. And you can make a case right now that you can make the case right now that these may be the two best teams in the state. We talk about Endicott and we talk about John Curtis, and they could be meeting for a district championship, for the Catholic League championship next week. So we're going to have our eyes on that football game for sure. We're going to be paying attention to that football game. That is going to be a fun one to watch, and that's going to be a fun one for everybody to really tune in and follow that one, because whoever wins that football game, you can feel pretty confident that they're going to be, the number one team in the state. And this is basically the chance to prove it for John Curtis. Until you beat them, and the car is the team to beat. But if there is a team that can go out and do it, it is John Curtis. But John Curtis able to roll over the Jesuit Blue Jays 37-10. Grand Lake gets a win over Maryville tonight, 48-14. Remember, we had J.J. LeBeau, who was a Gridiron Football Player of the Week. He's a quarterback for Grand Lake. He was on a show a couple weeks ago. All right, let's see here. We have Cecilia. How about Coach Champagne and the Cecilia Bulldogs winning pretty decisively there? Final score 53-7 over the Opelousas Tigers. Convincing victory there for the Cecilia Bulldogs. Bel Air able to get a 14-9 win over Broadmoor tonight. Bazille, impressive defense performance. Elton has the states. If nobody knows, they have the state's leading rusher this year in McKean Lemoyne. And to bottle them up and to only hold them to 7 points, I got to admit that is pretty impressive. I got to admit, because every single week, McKean Lemoyne has been putting up video game numbers just week in, week out. You consistently see it, but yeah, that is a big win for Bazille. Impressive, especially from their defense to really stifle a little bit the state's leading rusher. Okay, let's see what we got here. We have Archbishop Shaw. They're still rolling. Ever since that big win over LCA just a couple weeks ago, they get a 49-0 win over Kenner Discovery. Able to cruise control there. Archbishop Hannon gets a 49-28 win over Cohen. So big win tonight for the Archbishop Hannon Hawks. Zachary, Woodlawn just kind of had to run into a buzzsaw tonight. This is a team, Zachary, they don't lose often, and especially they don't get blown out often. And so the saying was, how was Zachary going to bounce back after a disappointing result last week against Liberty? How did they bounce back? And they show that. You're not going to see this team lose 2 in a row quite often. Now, Woodlawn is a competitive football team, and I think Coach TD, Marcus Randall, the whole coaching staff over there, I think they do a great job. But it's going to be tough. You're playing against a frustrated a team that was angry. An angry Zachary team is a dangerous Zachary team, and you saw it there. Broncos take care of business tonight, 44-8. They bounce back after the loss last week to Liberty. Ascension Christian, I believe it says fourth quarter. I'm not sure that was the exact final score, but 40-12. That is what we see here. Ascension Christian over White Castle. White Castle has been a tough season over there for the Bulldogs. Westgate They get a 54-3 victory tonight over North Vermilion. Dominant performance there for the Tigers. St. Martin's Episcopal, this was a close one. 23-20 over West St. John. Good win there for the Saints. And St. Martin's Episcopal, they win 23-20 against the Rams. And the Rams trying to get back to the golden age we talk about in Edgardo, Louisiana for the Rams, and trying to get back to the winning tradition. St. Martin's, they had Harlan Berry last year. That's what everybody talks about. But Coach Dives over there trying to establish a consistency with the program and getting some impressive wins. And they do that tonight, 23-20 over West St. John. West Washita gets a 24-13 win tonight over Wasserman. LCA, they got a big one next week against Evangel Christian Academy. Like I joked with Coach Shiver earlier, definitely pick the over when we talk about that football game, but definitely take the over in that one. But that should be a lot of points. It should be a lot of fun, exciting offense, and that might be a game I might be considering going to next week. 52-14, LCA getting the job done. Leesville gets a 47-28 win for Washington Marion. I know they're trying to kind of find their offensive identity as well. Xavier Ford was their workhorse running back, set all kinds of records over there. We kind of talked about that with Vermilion Catholic with Coach Prejean and Coach D'Artes, but they did the same thing there. Yeah, we talked about so Kentrell Brown makes a comment right here. Sumner, yeah, we talked about Jules Sumner earlier, Mr. Brown. I know Kendall over there and Jamon Dyson, and I mean that whole crew, man. They are rolling right now. There is 41-14. Really, really impressive. Undefeated, and you can probably say for a lot of teams, they were like the best team in that class. They're number one ranked team and undefeated on the season for the Cowboys. I saw them in person play against Franklinton. Get a lot more success this time around for the Cowboys than last year. We saw both those games. Both were phenomenal football games that went into overtime. But Jules Sumner, man, one thing you can say about the Cowboys is even if you do beat them, you're going to get bruised up. You're going to get beaten up. You're going to get bruised up. It's a physical football team. Anytime you got to go there to Kentwood and play under a Coach Ross, play a Coach Ross football team, yeah, they were really dangerous. And with those running backs, the offensive line, even Eli Nealon, the quarterback, he was a tight end. He was a tight end that's converted to quarterback. It shows you how physical the football team is, and we can control the line of scrimmage. That makes you a dangerous football team, and that's what Jules Sumner is right now. So I appreciate Kentrell for your comment on Jules Sumner. They're rolling, man. 8-0 on the season. On their way, maybe to doing some things that were unprecedented. They accomplished a lot of that last year, but they have a chance to do a lot of things that are unprecedented in their football program. All right, so moving back on, but I appreciate the comment. Guys, if y'all have any comments and want to talk about any of the teams that we talked about tonight or haven't talked to yet about tonight, make sure, feel free to chime in. We want your comments. We want you to be involved. Let's see. What was I on last time? So okay, this is where we are. In the car, Warren Easton, and this is going to be a game next week that might have the bragging rights of who is the best team in the state of Louisiana. In the car was by far the best team I thought last year in the state of Louisiana. If there is a team that can do it this year, it's John Curtis. They're undefeated, and the car's undefeated. That is going to be a fun one. That is going to be not only for the Catholic Championship, but that should be a game where you're thinking, hey, we might see this game twice. We might not only see this game in the regular season for the district championship. You might see this game again as well in maybe a semifinal game. maybe a championship, game. Maybe you see this game in the Superdome. I mean, you just never know. But crazy things have happened, and this is going to be a game that's going to be a really great measuring stick for both teams, and it's kind of one of those things. You don't want to bet against a JT Curtis team, and you don't want to bet against a Bryce Brown coach team. So who you going to bet? Who you going to bet against? Are you going to bet against Coach Brown, or are you going to bet against Coach Curtis? I mean, I don't want to bet against either one of those guys, but ultimately you're going to have to bet against somebody. But that should be a fun one next week. But they take care of business. A little bit of a look-ahead spot, but they do take care of business there. All right. Let's see what else we got. How about that? A little bit of a struggle win for Dutchtown. I know Walker has struggled this year, but that district it's always been kind of unpredictable. You don't really know what to really expect. So, you don't actually really know what to really expect from these teams. But that's when you have to play that district every single week. You just don't know what is exactly going to happen. And here, Dutchtown able to get the win. A win's a win, like people say. An ugly win is better than a pretty loss. You're going to take that of your coach, Coach Guy Mastretta, and you're going to take that to the bank 10 out of 10 times. And Dutchtown, you got to give them credit. Find a way to win that football game. 19-14 over Walker. Marksville, still having a strong start to the season this year. 48-6. They did lose. They dropped a couple games, but still, Marksville pretty strong this year. Thibodaux, 62-0 over McMain tonight. And then this was a game I covered tonight. Turlings Catholic and East Ascension. Turlings Catholic. I'm going to just give a brief recap of this game since we're on it. It was kind of like a lot of the headlines were on the head coaches here, and rightfully so, because Coach Michael Corville, he takes over. Coach Tony Corville's son, a long-time successful coach, state championship winning coach of Karen Crow. So his son, Michael Corville, takes over. And his first year over there at Turlings Catholic, what do? They are 8-0, and they're undefeated. And they're playing like one of the best teams in the state of Louisiana. East Ascension, it was a very interesting move. Dane Chapanche was a successful head coach at Turlings Catholic. His dad, Sonny, was a longtime head coach at Turlings as well. They succeeded each other, and they take their talents to East Ascension, that part of that all-star coaching staff. We talked with Coach Brock Mathern a lot on this show, but they go over, and all they do is trying to come up with success. I mean, they beat last week. They beat Sandmall coming off a high of winning that football game in that rivalry game, and now you kind of have to turn around, and then you got to play in this emotional football game with the Chapanches coming back to Turlings Catholic. But this game was totally dominated by Turlings Catholic in the beginning. You know, their offense was rolling. They scored on their first 4 touchdown drives. Their quarterback, Alex Munoz, had accounted for 5 touchdowns, 3 through the air, 2 on the ground. The offensive line dominated the football game. Now, he had some splash plays every now and then. Bryson Martinez, he's the 4-star offensive tackle, LSU commit for East Ascension. They lined him up at quarterback a couple of times, and they threw him a couple of fade passes in the end zone. He caught a touchdown. He actually go with my X account, and I'll show it to you later on in the show. But it was a great effort though, from start to finish for Turlings Catholic. They were the better team. They were in control of this game. The defense came up with a lot of turnovers. The offense controlled the line of scrimmage, controlled the tempo of the football game. And it's going to set up even a more intriguing matchup next week for the district championship against St. Thomas More. That will be a fun one between the Rebels and the Cougars on Halloween night. Man, we got some really good Halloween matchups already to talk about next week. St. James, this was also for the district championship. St. James, totally dominant over Donaldsonville. That's done some really good things under Coach Darnell Lee. Kind of transition from East Ascension, right? A former head football coach for the Spartans and taking over there at Donaldsonville. But St. James is too much, man. Too many athletes. Just too much firepower to handle for the Donaldsonville Tigers. St. James Wildcats get a decisive 51-7 win. Acadiana gets a victory tonight, 17-14 over Southside. How about Coach Dotson and the Wrecking Rams win this game ugly? You got to talk about the veer offense that they run at Acadiana. I think Coach Dotson was kind of waiting for that really marquee win. They've had a tough early start to the season just because of the games, the schedule that they played. I mean, they played Ruston to start the season. They played St. Thomas More to start the season. Those are some tough teams to really start the season off against. But it seems like they're finding their footing now. That's a big win for Coach Dotson. I know these kind of looking for a marquee win. That was against Jess Curtis, who's really also getting it going there at Southside as well. So big win there for Coach Dotson and the Acadiana Wrecking Rams. They won that football game 17-14. Big win there for the Rams. All right, Newman gets a 55-14 win. We had Coach Weiss on the show a couple of times before, and the Newman Greenies get a 55-14 win, and the Greenies starting to roll a little bit as well. Salmon with a 35-21 win over Slidell tonight. Good win for Coach Shooter over there at Salmon over Slidell, who's been showing some improvement this year. St. Michael had a tough stretch. I mean, they lost. They got blown out the other week against Plaquemine, but they bounced back and won this game pretty decisively against Port Allen tonight, 56-0 over the Port Allen Pels. Mandeville shuts out Ponchatoula, the Green Wave, tonight, 27-0. We have the Willow School having a good season under Coach Smith, 67-22. Willow School gets the victory. Covington, so good win there for Coach Salter and Covington, because Hammonds has some pretty good wins this year. I think they're a really good football team under Coach Dorset Buckles. So that was a good win tonight for Coach Salter and the Covington Lions, 25-14 tonight. This was a big win as well for Gina. Jay Roark and the Giants get a huge win. Bunkie was one of those teams that was undefeated going into this one. They have not lost a game yet. They've been rolling, and Gina really put into it, and they won that football game pretty convincingly, 68-45. I mean, that was a big game going into it. Big win for Coach Jay Roark, and I believe they still only have one loss this year. And I think that was against Mangum. I could be wrong. You can probably correct me if you haven't, if I got that one wrong. But still, 68-45, and this is against a really good Bunkie football team tonight. Very impressive. And that could really secure a district championship as well for Gina. They got some really good players over there. Cedric Wilson, Daniel Hatcher over there for the Giants. And they're able to outlast the Panthers tonight. It was all Gina spoiling the Bunkie's undefeated run. So congratulations to the Gina Giants. Bogalusa gets a 26-20 win over Springfield. You saw the comment earlier. Pickering got the win tonight, 29-6 over Pine Prairie. Patrick Taylor gets a 28-21 win over Thomas Jefferson. U-High, they get a 57-17 win over Parkview. It was all U-High. I think it was senior night for them, for U-High tonight, and They took it on the Parkview Baptist Eagles, and we know that there's going to be an intriguing district title game coming up soon between U High and Madison Prep. That'll be for all the marbles in that district, and that district was won last year by Madison Prep. So you know that U High is thinking that, and especially how the way the season ended, especially last year. So they want to go out and get some revenge, but they take care of business tonight against Parkview Baptist in a big way. Final score, let's see here, 57-17, as I mentioned before. Hamilton Christian, we talked to Coach Washington on the show last week. It looks like we're going to be eliminating our guests tonight just because I just came back from Lafayette. So you usually get about four coaches on the show, but it looks like we're going to have just Coach Shiver tonight. But I understand that. We came and started the show a little bit later than we usually do. So 49-14. So we'll just kind of recap the scores tonight over the next hour. I'll be with you guys. 49-14 over Oberlin and Hamilton Christian. Looking pretty good after getting that win last week against Elton. It's looking pretty good for them to maybe end the regular season undefeated. Port Barry tonight gets a 19-14 win over Oakdale. St. Paul's, they get a 38-14 win over North Shore. North Lake Christian gets a 51-0 win over St. Thomas Aquinas. So those are some scores there as well. So North Lake Christian looking pretty good. I gotta admit, Cameron Casnave, really good, talented running back over there for North Lake Christian, and yeah, I mean, and that was impressive. And your defense gets a shutout too. They got some really talented defensive players too. Before we go over into some other scores, just want to say thank our main sponsor here tonight, Tommy's Windows. So make sure to give a call to Tommy. You can actually see the phone number at the bottom of your screen, 225-250-8808. So great experience, award-winning. You go and look at all the Angie's List Awards, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. Trusted exterior home improvement specialist. Door, siding, window installation service in the Baton Rouge area. Over 20 years of experience. They can replace your faulty windows, doors, sidings, gutters. Need porch screens as well. Patio covers installed. They can do that for you as well. So give them a call today, 225-250-8808. Call Tommy's and you'll see the difference clearly.
Doors and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's and you'll see the difference clearly. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's and you'll see the difference clearly. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's and you'll see the difference clearly.
All right, guys, welcome back. And we're going to just go back and talk about the rest of these scores. We talked about some of them already, but we still got some more scores for you as we'll recap them. I have another hour with you guys. We'll end the show tonight at 1 o'clock, but we'll talk about all the scores, and then I'll give my reactions to a lot of these games as well. Richwood able to get a 34-6 win over North Webster. It would help if I can show you the scores, and here they are. 34-6, Richwood over North Webster tonight. Give a shout out to Coach James Taylor, Coach JT. Helps us a lot with the Gridiron Football American Bowl game, one of our coaches every year. So appreciate Coach, and he's the defensive coordinator over there. It looks like they got a solid effort tonight, only giving up 6 points. So give a shout out to Coach JT up there. You had, if you missed it, or one of our staff members, Roman Clark, he jumped on the show at the very beginning. He was at this game tonight. Ascension Catholic able to end North Iberville's undefeated season this year, 50-28. Trevin Simon once again having a great outing there for the Ascension Catholic Bulldogs. North Iberville, they were undefeated, but their undefeated season ends tonight, but still going to be a really dangerous team in Division 4 Select. Big win, though, for Coach Taylor James and the Bulldogs. Let's see. We have North DeSoto, again, looking really strong this year. I believe they are still undefeated, too, under Coach Dunn. Luke Delafield, explosive offense right there. Kenny Thomas. They've been putting up a lot of points this year, 62-12 over Woodlawn of Shreveport to remain undefeated. They're looking like one of the best teams in the state of Louisiana, regardless of classification. They're going to be a team to watch out for in that Division II non-select bracket. Sacred Heart with a shutout tonight over North Central, 49-0. Sam Houston gets a 56-32 win over New Iberia. Talk about a squeaker, man. Ouachita Parish, they're going to be one of those teams. You look at their record, it might not really show the whole story about how good this team is. They just play in a really tough district. Neville, they fell. It was a close one last week to Ruston. I know Neville felt like they could have won that football game, but you had a battle. I mean, you can't just let up in that district up there in the Monroe area. But Neville found a way to win that football game, 38-37, able to hang on and win that football game over Ouachita Parish. It is a battle every single week in that district. You have Neville, you have Ouachita Parish, you have West Monroe, you have Russ, and you have Ash. We're going to talk about that Russ and Ash game in just a little bit, but very impressive there for the Neville Tigers to get a win, 38-37. It was a squeaker. You had to find a way to win these football games. It doesn't matter. Just find a way, especially in a district like that, to find a way to win that football game, 38-37. That was a close one for Coach Collins to win. I know they were sweating that one out, but man, what a game, 38-37. And special teams actually was big, I heard. They scored, I think, 17 points special teams. So a field goal and a couple of return touchdowns. That is pretty good. I got to admit, find a way. You got to find a way to win these football games. So 38-37, final score, Neville gets the win. South Lafourche gets the win tonight, 48-12. I know their quarterback is a guy that we've been really high on this year, and Joshua Mack. And I think Joshua has a chance to do some really good things as far as like breaking some records along the way. Let's see. Looks like we're going to have another coach on board. So let's see if we can get him on. Coach Lafitte, can you hear me? Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you, Coach. You got yourself a win over Country Day tonight. What was it, 32-23 tonight, Coach?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely, Coach. So congratulations on the win. I know I can tell you probably maybe some yelling tonight, a lot of yelling tonight on your to your guys, and trying to save that energy. You're trying to just rest and relax, and I kind of like this, Coach.
Yeah, man. I'm settling down, man. I'm just getting home, but yeah, man, definitely, man, for everything that you do for the program and stuff, man. I definitely want to take a second and reach out to you guys and and just speak about the win.
Yeah, for sure, Coach. Let's talk about it. Be honest with you, giving up 23 points to that Country Day team, that's actually a really impressive feat considering their quarterback. They got a lot of great skill weapons, wide receivers, and they're really athletic. Just talk about the team and how they're able to get the job done tonight.
Yeah, so they jumped on us 14-0, and then I believe they ended up having a ball in the second quarter before we had a stop, and then we was able to score before halftime. Their offense is very explosive. They have some great athletes. The quarterback is pretty accurate as well. I'm proud of my defense. We was able to make adjustments to only allow 7 points in the second half. We ended up just taking a safety to keep a 2-score lead in the fourth quarter. So really limiting them outside of that first quarter, to really only 7 points, man. That was big for our defense to bend and not break. And again, our offense was able to kind of get the ball rolling. We had a lot of mishaps where, messed up snaps, misreads and stuff. But, one thing I tell my kids is that teams got to take that long drive down the road, and we're gonna take them to deep waters. So we was able to outlast them, and I'm proud of my guys how they fought.
Yeah, Coach, big win. 5-1 on the season, right? Or 6-1.
6-1. 6-1 now.
With the win. 6-1 with the win, and the only loss was against Bell Chase, who I believe is I believe they have one loss as well, but that's a really good Bell Chase football team. And just kind of looking at the team and how you feel like this team has performed as a whole, because last year you're coming off winning a state championship and a lot of positive momentum, and this team and how they've been able to take on that role of like, hey, we're not the Hunters anymore, like we're the Hunted. We won a state title last year.
Right, I think I said that in our interview, the interview after the game. We got a bullseye on our back, so we gonna get everybody best shot. We're not the dog horse anymore, but we do. I have high expectations, for this team. We have we have a great team. Last year we had a lot of individuals that was great, and everybody caught fire, but as a team, like I told them, we only gonna be able to be successful is if we bond as a team and play team ball. Because like the talent level is not really that big in between what we have, what we're putting out there. So it's just consistently getting better, finding our identity, and just finding out who's going to be the one to make the plays, in crunch time. I'm glad we had a lot of kids, step up tonight, and answer the call, and so, I thank God we got 2 more weeks to, put it together, man, before it really matters.
Yeah, talk about a guy that, I don't know, it's just because it's just being 1A or just, not being the biggest level or anything, but talk about your quarterback, Roderick Parker. I mean, I know he's been a player that, won a state championship for you guys, and a great athlete, has been doing a lot of great things for y'all since, 8th grade, playing a whole lot of football, and just talk about how he's been able to lead the team.
Well, this year, we told him, hey, look, we need to expect more out of you. We know what we're going to get out of your offense, and when you're at a small school, sometimes your best players got to go both ways. So I think he played every snap on defense. So he plays a linebacker safety position for us, and he does a hell of a job. I'm just, proud of him to where now, whether the game is going in our favor or not, he's cool-headed. He demands control. He know how to control his emotions, and that's the biggest thing. Hey, look, let's not panic, fellas. Hey, just let's stay with it. All right, let's make the necessary adjustments. But the game isn't over. And so, understanding, hey, you got to play the whole 48 minutes when you play against South Platte. It's big. So it took a long time to get the program to where it is now, where the kids can face adversity and still prevail.
Yeah, and for sure. And I know that Coach Crutchfield, really got the program really going a couple years ago, and you're trying to bring that championship mentality back as well. And we talked about him trying to step up more as a leader, and I know that's what you want him to really step up as. But we invite him to play in our bowl game at the end of the year, as well as a couple other guys. I want to ask you about them too and how they've been performing. But Josh Bartholomew and Hillary Thomas and how they've been performing for y'all. Really both sides of the football for y'all, especially. But talk about how they've been performing, those two individuals.
Man, same thing. Man, it was great having Harry back. He had to miss a few weeks dealing with a hip flexor. Him coming back, man, showed up our offensive line. Also, having him on the D line, man, causing pressure, and allowing us to change our defensive front. because we had him rushing the pass. I mean, so it was great. Again, I think I don't know the stats, but Josh gonna pop up on the film. I mean,
Sure.
he was running, ran the ball hard, kept us in you know, second, kept us in front of the chains, and then defensively, like I said, man, made plays when we needed him to make plays. Our seniors this year, they have to do a lot because after this year, we our team, if we got 30 kids, 12 of them is eighth graders. So
Mhm.
most of our team are eighth graders. So our seniors, we got about 10 seniors. And so they got to go, the talent drop off is big. Uh, and, like I told them, man, it ain't no next year for you guys.
Yeah.
It's dome or bust. And we're going to roll with you guys.
Yeah, what are some? I know you have a lot of guys that play. Now you did replace some key players last year, but you still have a lot of the players from last year's team. I know it's really great to have them as key guys. I know we talked about those guys being leaders for this football team from last year. But what's been like? I guess like differences and some similarities from you've seen from this year's team in regards to comparing last year's team.
Well, I'm we returned 4 offensive linemen and our quarterback. Outside of that, we had to replace 95% of our offense. I mean, outside of Rod, we're looking at
Sure.
95% of our offense. So again, we still have a lot of skilled guys that's still trying to find their way. Not only, hey, look, they're getting their feet wet, finally really getting playing time at them skill positions, but now, okay, I'm playing. Now, how do I go out there and I make plays? How do and consistently? And so that's my biggest thing. We can't get enough reps and we continuously working, so we can build that confidence that they need to be successful. And, when we need a play made in November and in December, hey, they don't shy from the moment, they seize it and make the best of the opportunity.
I can't escape this interview without asking you about Coach Kendrick Smith because I'm not sure if I'm like, oh, Jason, I'm asking myself, am I at this point where like, okay, I'm starting to interview players that are now coaching? But I interviewed Kendrick when he was at South Plaquemines a couple years ago, and now he's coaching with y'all. So talk about Coach Smith and how he's really helped y'all.
Oh man, he did an awesome job, man. This week preparing the guys defensively. Like I said, we gave up 2 early touchdowns, but he did a great job, man, making adjustments and giving our kids the spark they needed on defense. We ended up believing either having 1 or 2 interceptions. Uh, we ended up making having a couple sacks that knocked them out of field position, and it's great when you have a former player, that understands, hey, the flow of the game. Okay, hell, like what's going on, like being able to relate with the kids and actually explain to the kids really what's going on, how the offense is trying to influence you, and stuff like that. So he did an awesome job, man. I'm proud of how far he has come. As a not only a coach but a DC, and like I said, I'm excited for them, and I'm excited for our defense, and ready for the next test.
Yeah, we talk about the next test. I know y'all have to finish off. It's kind of crazy. I mean, like, man, y'all got 2 regular season games left, but this is week 8, and I was like, man, this season has really flown by as we're about to kind of start talking about the playoffs coming up. But I believe y'all have was it Cohen next week, and then y'all end things with Newman, and obviously that's a huge game to end the season. But yeah, looking ahead. What do you want to see from your team? Looking forward, I know that's going to be a really great measuring stick in the regular season finale against Newman before you get to the playoffs Division 4 non-select. But what do you want to see your team continue to improve on that you feel, okay, I feel pretty good at where we're at when we get to the playoffs?
Yeah, well, we just gotta continue working on the little things, and that all starts with approaching every practice and getting the most out of every day. You don't want to, it's so easy to start looking ahead. And I think that's one thing that we've learned with facing country day to day, is that, hey, we cannot look ahead. We got to continue to seize the opportunity to get better each day because, we want that to kind of help us down the road. So let's just continue, grinding, getting better at our, technique for sure. And like I said, man, just being ready, so we need as many reps as possible. Finally, we're getting healthy. I had a couple guys return from injury. I have another one coming back next week, and so want to get healthy, want to continue getting stronger, and then, like I said, we just want to continue getting better at our fundamentals and our technique.
Absolutely, Coach. Yeah, just any thoughts, any final thoughts before we let you go on your way about this team and how they've been performing? And I feel like even though with the kind of the bullseye on your back, I still think that people are still kind of sleeping on y'all this year, and which is kind of scary considering what y'all did last year, and still having a chance to do something that's been done before, but it's been a couple of years, but having the chance to go back to back.
Yeah, I don't think, of course, we're the favorite. They have a lot of good teams in our division, and that's okay. You know, at the end of the day, hey, look, we want to focus on each game, the next game, and at the end of the day, like I told the kids, as long as we top two in the state, hey, all roads got to come through, Beers, Louisiana, and so again, that district championship against Newman got to come through Beers, and then any team that would like to go play in Porters and play in the Superdome gonna have to come through Beer. So we got to
Yep.
protect home field and just be ready. Just get everybody best shot because we're gonna receive everybody best shot. Everybody's gonna be prepared when they come play us. So we got to be making sure we hit on all cylinders.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of better home field advantages in what y'all have down there in Beerus. So, Coach, congratulations on the win. You're doing an awesome job with the program, and I appreciate you spending a couple minutes with me tonight and talk about the victory for the Hurricanes tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. Coach Alal Feet for a head football coach at South Plaquemines. Coach, appreciate everything that he's done with us and supporting us. And congratulations on the big victory, 32-23 tonight, I believe, over Country Day. So big win there for the Hurricanes. And, defending state champions over there, Division 4 non-select. And they're going to be dangerous down the road as well. I mean, this is a team, only one loss on the season to Bell Chase. They come off a big win over Country Day, and we talked to Coach Vice over there at Newman, and that's going to be mostly for the district championship. But that should be a fun one when the Greenies play South Plaquemines to wrap up the season. So I appreciate Coach spending some time with us. Obviously, we had him and Coach Shiver on the show earlier as well. Yeah, we move ahead. Moving forward, we have McDonough 35 getting a 42-26 win. We'll bring back the school board back here. McDonough 35 gets a win tonight over Carver, 42-26. Red River gets a 34-6 win over Manny tonight. Mansfield gets a 56-22 win over Winfield. And how about Ouachita Christian? Mangum's had some pretty impressive wins, and over the last couple of games, they defeat Faraday, defeat Oak Grove, and it's going to be hard to complete the trifecta in that district. And I believe all those games are in a row, and then you gotta go play Mangum after that. So it doesn't get any easier. And I mean, you got to play Ouachita Christian from Mangum's point of view, and it's hard to beat those three teams in that district. And Ouachita Christian still looking really strong this year. They got a veteran quarterback, and we all know what Coach Fitz's teams can do. They're really good. It's fundamentally sound, and every year they're going to be in the running for a state championship. They're going to be running for a lot of big things. They get the job done tonight. Impressive win, one of the most impressive wins of the night, 35-14 over a team in Mangum that has been rolling as of late in the last couple of games. So huge marquee win for Coach Fitzhugh. I know he's really proud of his team tonight. Northwest, they got a big win last week over Church Point, and they followed that up. So it's like that Coach Edwards and the Raiders, it seems like around this time of year, This Raiders football team is always playing their best football. You look back a couple of seasons ago, they made it all the way to the semifinals, and they were a low seed, and they got hot, and they made it all the way to the semis. Was a game short of the Superdome. And it looks like this team, Kevon Johnson, the running back, they got plenty of skill weapons. They can make things interesting, and that's going to be a team that not a lot of teams want to play against when we talk about the playoffs and getting hot at the right time. Lutcher gets a 49-3 win over Eleanor Memorial. So Lutcher bounces back. They played E.D. White last week. Lutcher bounces back with a 49-3 victory over Eleanor Memorial. Lakeshore gets a win tonight, 38-14 over Oranger. We had Coach Endes on the show just a couple weeks ago when they were able to defeat Franklinton. Lakeshore gets a 38-14 win over Oranger tonight. We have Logansport. They get a 38-18 win over Montgomery tonight. Montgomery has been putting up a lot of points this year. Their quarterback, Mason Jordan, he is committed to play in a Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game. But, I mean, pretty good effort there for Logansport Tigers to stymie a Montgomery team that's been, I think, number 1 in Division 4 in passing, and they've been top 5 in the state in passing. So good job there for Coach McGee over there at Logansport. St. Mary's gets a 28-6 win over LaSalle. We have, how about Northwood Lena? They put it on Lakeview tonight, 72-0. Man, what a statement there made by Northwood Lena tonight. We have Lakeside getting a 66-20 win over Ringgold. Lake Charles Prep gets a 26-14 win over Westlake. We have Lafayette Renaissance getting a 51-0 win over Lake Arthur. I was talking to Spencer Verrett. He's over at the LHSA Network, and he told me he was leaving that football game, and it was all Lafayette Renaissance at that point. And you can tell what he was telling, how that game was going. Not too shocked. That's the score ended up being 51-0. Lafayette Renaissance, a dominant victory from start to finish over Lake Arthur. Covenant Christian, how about this? In double overtime, huge win for Covenant Christian, just because they Jeanerette was an undefeated football team, and they end their undefeated season 21-18 in double overtime over Jeanerette. So congratulations to Coach Turner and the Covenant Christian Lions getting the job done, 21-18 to end Jeanerette's undefeated season. West Louisiana gets a 58-12 victory over Estruma. Good win for Coach Miner. They won that game pretty convincingly over the Indians. Iota gets a 51-20 win over Ville Platte. Pope John Paul gets a 40-8 win over Independence. We have Homer gets a 55-0 win over Magnolia School of Excellence. Kinder gets a 50-32 win over Holy Savior Menard. Glen Oaks gets a 6-0 win over Mentorship. Evangel Christian Academy, man, that's going to be a fun one when they play LCA. Expect a lot of points to be on the scoreboard when that game comes around next week. Evangel Christian 63-27 over Houghton. Terrebonne continuing their strong season under Tyra Lewis. They win the football game tonight, 49-0 over HL Bourgeois. Green Oaks gets a 44-6 win over North Caddo tonight. Let's see what else we have. General Trask, a squeaker over Delta Charter, 30-28. General Trask able to get the victory. And how about Coach Burnett's squad? They put themselves up with a statement tonight, 77. That's a lot of points on the scoreboard tonight. 77 points from the Franklin Parish Patriots, 77-35 over the Grant Cougars. Chalmette, defensive, not as much high scoring in this football game. 17-7, your final score as the Chalmette Owls get the victory over the Fontainebleau Bulldogs. Hahnville, they stretch and they pretty much cruise their way to a victory, 42-7 over East St. John over the Wildcats, 42-7. Hahnville getting the job done. E.D. White, no layoff after the big win last week against Letcher. They are continuing to keep their eyes for a district championship. 49-0 over South Terrebonne tonight. A shutout victory for the Cardinals. They won that football game big over the Gators. Dunham, still looking really strong. That was a statement tonight. That's a really good, talented East Louisiana football team. We talk about the Tigers. I've called their game this year against Episcopal, and that was a fun game. But this game was all Dunham. Elijah Haven, what he can do at the quarterback position, the weapons they have offensively, the defense is really stingy. I don't think the defense gets enough credit for how good they've really been on that side of the football. And this may be Coach Weiner's most complete team he's ever had. And the way it's looking after coming up just short of a state championship last year, there's a good chance they can get there again and I possibly win it of how good they've really been playing this year. Just keep an eye on the Dunham Tigers. De Ritter wins 41-8 over LaGrange tonight. Good win for Coach Parmley. We just announced the running back earlier this week, Connor Rushford, playing in our Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game. DeQuincy gets a 47-32 win over East Beauregard. Prairieville's been a pretty good story this year, but Denham Springs is showing like, hey, we're going to be contenders for a district championship. And right now, you got some really good teams in that district. When we talk about Denham Springs, we talk about East Ascension, Santa Ma, Live Oak. But, right now, I don't think – Dutchtown. But I don't think anybody's playing as good right now as the Denham Springs Yellow Jackets are. And if the season were to end today, man, it would be hard to go against a veteran team of 40 seniors for Brett Beard and the Yellow Jackets. They get a 51-13 win over the Hurricanes. De La Salle gets a 43-0 win over Booker T. Washington. Union Parish, it was a tough game last week for them against Calvary Baptist, but they bounced back 32-20 over Darbone Woods Charter. Como had to win this football game in overtime against Northside, 28-21. The Spartans find a way to get the job done in OT. Church Point, they fell last week to Northwest, but still having a good season this year under Coach Rob Poole. And they take care of business tonight, 54-14 over the Crowley Gents. Central Private gets a 34-12 win over Thrive Academy. Destrehan gets a 46-7 win over Central Lafourche. We have Riverside Academy. Man, they're playing really good football as of late. Riverside Academy is going to be dangerous when the playoffs hit. 47-7 over Central Catholic. Cedar Creek, 65-32 over Lincoln Prep. St. Thomas More, man, they got that district championship next week on Halloween. As of right now, I know that there's a lot of games on Friday. There's been some games being moved to Thursday because next week is Halloween. But as of now, it looks like this game is on next Friday, October 31st at St. Thomas More and Turlings Catholic. Man, that will be a fun one, most likely for the district championship. That's actually wrong. It's the other way around. St. Edmund gets a 52-50 win tonight over Catholic Point Compete. So it's actually the other way around. St. Edmund gets a big win tonight. Moving on, how about Loreauville? Loreauville gets a win over the defending state champion Catholic New Iberia Panthers. Loreauville gets a 40-28 win over the Panthers. let's see here. We have Catholic High, my Bears. That's where I graduated from. The Bears get the job done 49-0 over Scotlandville. Ever since those back-to-back losses, it seems like Catholic has been back on track, and they're looking really strong after a big win last week over Central. And they just keep on going, and they did not let them affect them. 49-0 over Scotlandville. The Bears looking really strong, trying to make a push to a state championship. Parkway continuing their strong season. A close one. Captain Street game, all they got, but Parkway finds a way to prevail and get the victory. 45-42, big win for Coach Brotherton and the Panthers. Calvary Baptist gets a 45-35 win over Huntington. Huntington, gotta give him credit, able to hang with the Calvary Baptist Cavaliers, but Calvary a little too strong, able to get the win 45-35. C.E. Bird gets a 49-40 win over Benton. So some higher scoring games up there in North Louisiana, in the Shreveport area to be specific. Caldwell Parish gets a 20-13 win tonight over Buckeye. We have Breaux Bridge, man, close battle. But Breaux Bridge able to prevail 41-40 over Beauchene tonight. Minden gets a win 49-13 over the Bossier Bearcats. We have Loyola College Prep. The Flyers still undefeated at 8-0. They get a win tonight, 54-26 over Booker T. Washington. How about Avoyles? I mean, they really put it on tonight against Bolton. 69-0 in a shutout victory. Dominant performance from Coach Bannister and the Mustangs. 69-0 your final score. St. Charles Catholic just doing what St. Charles Catholic does. It's been a bounce back year for sure, and you knew that last year was just one just to kind of forget about, but this is the St. Charles Catholic we're used to. Disciplined football, great defense, ground and pound, offensive attack, and they do a great job of really stuffing an attack for Bell Chase that's been really good this year. 19-7. St. Charles Catholic still only one loss on the season to St. James. Rayville gets a 22-17 win over Beekman Charter tonight. How about Barb? Barb put up 63 points tonight. They won the football game 63-40. A lot of points being scored between Barb and Lafayette, but the Buccaneers able to get the job done. Sauter Charter, after a couple losses in a row, they get back in the win column tonight with a 33-7 win over Baker. Vanderbilt Catholic, I believe they are still undefeated at 8-0. They get a win over Assumption 49-14. Rummel gets a win tonight 24-3 over Holy Cross. And Kieran Smith, he was a Gridiron Football Player of the Week finalist for us last week for Holy Cross. This is a Jacoby Faria, their quarterback. They got a lot of talent over there at Holy Cross, but Coach Monica and the Rummel Raiders defense, too much to handle. And Rummel gets a win tonight, 24-3. Great defensive effort. This was a game that was really dominant by Ash. This was a statement. One of the biggest statements of the week when we talk about Week 8 of Louisiana High School Football. And that is the performance from Alexandria, from Ash. They were actually down in this football game. I think it was like 21-10. I mean, I could be wrong, but they were down 21-3 in the second quarter, and after that, they outscored Ruston 42-7 the rest of the way. Total domination after a slow start for Ash. And I think they were down 21-10, with a minute left to go in the first half, and they scored 2 touchdowns in a matter of a minute. to take the lead going into halftime, 24-21, and you saw what happened in that final minute of the first half. Really helped Alexandria to get that victory. It's like kind of like the effect, right, with Zachary. You don't see Ruston get blown out that often. You don't see them losing that often. And then when you see them kind of get, really their butts kicked, I mean, you don't see that happen a lot. And that's what happened tonight with Alexandria. 45-28. Alexandria still really strong this season. They did fall to West Monroe, but you see how West Monroe's been playing. Ash is still really good, and Ash is going to still make a really deep run. That was a great win for the Trojans, and to beat these guys twice in a row, 2 years in a row, what accomplishment there for Coach Botman and the Trojans. Huge statement win tonight for the Ash Trojans. Looks like they're here to stay, and they're just continuing to build off what that year was last year, going all the way to the Superdome. Vardo gets a forfeit tonight over Crescent City. Plaquemine gets a 47-8 win over Terra. We're kind of looking at the Thursday night scores now as we're kind of winding our way down Louisiana High School Football scoreboard. Karen Crow, Carson Guernsey, Chance Babineau and company get the job done over Sulphur, 66-34. Del High wins the football game 62-24 over Block. St. John, they win and they cruise. I think that this game was like 42-0 in the first half, and they pretty much cruise over East Iberville 49-14. St. Louis Catholic gets a win, 17-7. And unfortunately, Andy, your Rose Pine Eagles, man, it's been a tough season for those Eagles as they lose again 27-0 to Vinton. Burley gets a 39-0 win over McKinley. This is a game I called on Thursday for Episcopal. Episcopal won that football game 40-14. I'll show you some highlights of that one. John F. Kennedy gets a 27-0 win over Livingston Collegiate. How about this? This game, we talk about the state championships, the creative, unique nicknames, Louisiana High School Football, right? You got the Southern Lab Kittens. You got the Kentwood Kangaroos. That's always been a battle over the years. And Southern Lab able to be victorious. A low-scoring one here, 12-8 over the Kentwood Kangaroos. Congratulations, Coach Osbury, on the victory for him and the Kittens. Jonesboro Hodge gets a 40-0 win over Plain Dealing. Notre Dame, they bounced back after getting blown out last week against LCA, but they do defeat a good Jennings team on Thursday night, 28-12. Franklin gets a 46-22 win over Homa Christian. ERAF still remains unbeaten again, 45-0 shutout win over St. Martinville. We have Madison Prep getting a 50-0 win over Collegiate. Madison Prep and U High. That's looking like that's going to be a battle for the district championship over there. And Centerville gets a 28-21 win over Hanson Memorial. Patterson gets a 42-6 win over Berwick. Sterlington gets a 54-6 win over Bastrop. Let's see. Ascension Episcopal gets a forfeit over Highland Baptist. A-Meet gets a 35-0 win over Albany. A-Meet building off the momentum. We were there for their game last week against Pine in Albany. Even though Jonah Grove won our Gridiron Football Player of the Week, you can check that out on our website, gridironfootballusa.com. It is A-Meet that gets the win there. Let's see. We have Airline. They win the football game 41-21 over Natchitoches Central. Abbeville gets a 12-7 win over Kaplan. Oak Grove. This was a marquee game up there in North Louisiana as well. 13-6 Oak Grove over Faraday. Big win for Coach Gregory and the Tigers. Faraday is a strong football team this year. That's going to make a lot of noise in the playoff hits. Young Audience's Charter gets a win over Haynes Academy, 28-24 tonight. John Ehret gets a 41-30 win over East Jefferson. Frederick Douglass gets a forfeit over Aberson-Side Academy. And then there are your JV games. So that is your Louisiana High School football scoreboard. And brought to you by Tommy's Windows again. I'll have my final thoughts from Week 8 after going over all the scores. We had a couple coaches come on the show tonight. You can actually go back after the show is over. We've still got about 15 more minutes before we wrap up tonight. But you can go back and check out those interviews with Coach James Shiver of St. Edmunds, again, to win tonight, 52-50 over Catholic Point Capee, and Coach Lyle Feet as well over there at South Plaquemines as they win over Country Day tonight. We usually get about 4 coaches, but starting the show a little bit later than usual because of our schedule. Coming back from Charles Catholic and Lafayette, making the drive back is kind of why that's been a little bit affected. But we'll take a break as well before we wrap up the show. This will be our final break. Once again, Tommy's Windows, man. Tommy Kissinger, awesome job. He's been in the business for so long. If you need to get your doors replaced, your windows replaced, might as well go to a company that's been Angie's List, Angie's Award for the last 6 years. Might as well go to the best of the best. That's where you want to be. You want to be on a winning team. You want to go to a winning team. Make sure to go to Tommy's Windows. Give them a call to get your doors, your windows, everything replaced. He can do it all for you. 225-250-8808. Go Tommys.com. Make sure to go check them out. Go Tommys, and you'll be able to see the difference clearly.
Windows, doors, and siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly.
All right, guys, you go Tommy's. Make sure to go see them. Tommy's, go Tommys.com. Windows, Doors, and Siding. Make sure to go see Tommy and the gang over there. Appreciate Tommy, a proud supporter of Gridiron Football and our Ballin in the Boot show. Can't thank Tommy enough. And we're looking forward to a continuing sponsorship, partnership right there. All right, guys. So we have about 15 more minutes. And since we want to do things a little bit differently to end the show, usually I give you a quote. I play you the interview from the winning coach. Usually tonight, the game I was at is usually Episcopal. Usually that my Fridays are going towards Episcopal, but since they played on Thursday, I was at Charles Catholic tonight. I gave my thoughts about that football game, and that was a statement there for Charles Catholic. For Coach Corville, it was a huge win, first-year football coach for Charles Catholic. A big win there. They're still undefeated. So I don't have the interview just yet, but make sure to go to our website first thing in the morning tomorrow, gridironfootballusa.com. I'll have the complete highlights. I'll have the interviews and a complete analysis from that game. But what I'm going to do is I was at Episcopal and I was at Northeast. I call games for Varsity Sports Now. So I'll be able to show you some highlights here. I'll give VSN a shout out. They do a great work covering all the games and live streaming all the games, and it's really great, especially for me, especially at halftime. If I'm at halftime of my game, to see what's going on in other games around the state of Louisiana and what's going on live. I believe they had maybe, 10 games on tonight through VSN. So check out some of the highlights. This was Episcopal. They get a 40-14 win. They've won 3 games in a row. They won 3 games in a row, and they are playing some of their best football as they head towards that big district game next week against Dunham. So check out the highlights here. It's Episcopal Northeast, Varsity Sports Now. You'll hear me doing play-by-play, and you'll hear Taylor Sharp off the bench, 104.5 ESPN. You'll hear him as well with some commentary as well. So check that out. I will make sure to play that for y'all. Just give me 1 second. We'll get that going.
Sidings red zone, but it was a disaster in the last play. Now the misdirection to Jackson Young. Young makes a guy miss and just strolls into the end zone. Touchdown Knights. Jackson Young, number 14, has been a weapon running the football, receiving the ball, and you see him punching it in for the rushing touchdown.
Yeah, you can see the Rouse's Market replay here. A little misdirection. Bradford coming in motion. They hand it off underneath to Young, and he just cuts right underneath number 59.
Zach Hugh in the shotgun's going to go for the deep toss to Jeremy Mitchell, and Mitchell's got it. Touchdown Knights. What a thing of beauty there on the touchdown throw from Zach Hugh to Jeremy Mitchell. And this has been something we have seen all year long. Zach Hugh with 11th touchdown pass of the year and making the 7th time these two have connected.
I think this is going to be Callahan. I would imagine this is time for number 22.
And it is for 22, but it's time for 22 to punch it in for 6. Touchdown Knights. Made that the 4th touchdown for the Episcopal Knights in the Frugier Orthodox red zone. Callahan with his 14th rushing touchdown of the season. Kind of makes the defense have to commit either way. Okay, commit to the pass, commit to the run. Hugh is going to throw it up to Mitchell. 50-50 ball, and Jeremy Mitchell gets it. Touchdown Knights. Like the LSU says about Trades Green, it's not really 50-50, it's 80-20. Say the same thing here for Jeremy Mitchell.
We have seen it time and time again. I mean, look, Zach Hugh wasn't even looking anywhere else. I mean, it's a snap, take a step back, throw it up. You trust your guy more than anything.
Once again, the Frugier Orthodox red zone. There is Bradford again, head of steam, and that is going to be an easy touchdown for the Episcopal Knights. Touchdown Knights for Aiden Bradford. Make it number 3 this season for the Knights fullback.
Yeah, big time run there by Bradford, and I like that, you go to him here, right? I mean, he didn't get in the end zone a ton, but he gets the hard yardage. You reward him right there for having a really good game so far.
All right, so yeah, if you're hearing the play-by-play announcer, he's pretty decent. I gotta admit, but yeah, that was me calling the action there. Episcopal, they got a big one next week. They won 40-14 against Northeast, but they got Dunham next week, so that's going to be ultimately as well for the district championship too. But yeah, just kind of get my thoughts here. As we're pretty much recapping week 8, we have trying to see what undefeated teams we have left. If I'm missing one, well, I'm sure you can let me know. But you have, let's see, we have Edna Carr left. We have John Curtis. I know a lot of these will be settled on the field in the next couple of weeks. I missed a couple of comments as well before I finish my thoughts there. Jace LeJeune, check out my Facebook page. Just posted a video a little bit ago of Ty Walsworth, Bryce's stepbrother. Kid is tough and physical, heck of a player. Okay, so it seems like that. The Restovich family, man, is really tough, right? So, yeah, you corrected it, tough, right? That's right. And yes, listen to your whole shole while editing photos and videos. Great cast. Enjoyed it. I appreciate your listening. Mr. Wallace as well. Appreciate the comments and the interaction too. Sorry I didn't see that. It looks like this just came in. So, yeah, appreciate you listening as well. And thank you for the interactions. We really appreciate it. And, yeah, guys, as I'm wrapping things up in the next 6 minutes when I end things here, yeah, any comments, feel free to chime in. As we wrap everything up, obviously appreciate Coach Lyle Feet and Coach James Shiver for coming on and talking about their games. Like I said, you don't know exactly how many coaches. We've had some great coaches on the show this year. Coach Hudson Fuller from Catholic High, Coach Bachman from Ash, Coach. I mean, some of the best have come on and talked with this goober right here, myself. So I really appreciate it. It's really been fun to do this show. And I talked to a lot of the high school coaches, Coach Valdez, a lot of the best in the business come on. And means a lot, for them to come on the show, for sure. But Ruston, they lost tonight, heartbreaking fashion, to Ash, and Ash really pulled away from them. But Ash, they're looking good, man. They did fall this year to Western Road, but hey, Western Road also beat Catholic, and they're looking really good too. But in 5A, Carr and Curtis, we're going to talk a lot about that next week on this show. I'm trying to see who else is undefeated. That's basically 5A. I'm thinking I believe Parkway. Parkway could be undefeated too. They might have lost one. I'm going to double check. I'm kind of looking at 5A and 4A and see where everybody is at. So Parkway's undefeated. Yeah, that's what I thought. So Parkway is undefeated. They're 8-0. Let's see who else here. 4A, North DeSoto is undefeated. Turling's Catholic. They got St. Thomas More. They're number 2 and number 3 in 4A. That will be a fun one for the district championship. Iowa is still undefeated. Vanderbilt Catholic. How about Vanderbilt Catholic? And I feel like they're still not really getting a ton of respect. 4A, they're 7-0, but they'll have opportunities to show that. I know they got E.D. White. I think they play Letcher down the road. So we'll see how good Vanderbilt Catholic is in the next couple of games. Like old College Prep. We'll have Mr. Wallace on the show. They are also undefeated too, and I think they're really flying on the radar. They're not in the top 10 in the rankings in 4A, and they really should be because they're undefeated and they've dominated everybody they play. So they should be in that conversation. 3A, Joel Sumner, they are undefeated. They are 8-0. Bunkie lost, so they're not undefeated anymore. ERAF is still undefeated. They're 8-0. And that should be everybody in 3A. 2A, Washita Christians undefeated still. Let's see here. Kinder's still undefeated. Kinder's been kind of quiet being undefeated, but they are. They've been playing a lot of good football this year. They are 8-0. And in 1A, we talked to, so we have Haynesville. Jeanerette lost tonight. Hamilton Christian still undefeated. Westminster Christian Opelousas. That's going to be a great football game in a couple of weeks when they play St. Edmund. Ascension Episcopal, they are undefeated. North Riverville lost tonight, so their undefeated season is over. But you've still got some undefeated teams. But I think the most exciting part as we wrap up this show, you can say kind of like maybe I want to say down week because you had some big matchups. You had Ash and Ruston. The game I was at tonight was a good one between Turlings and East Ascension. You had some games out there, but I think next week's going to be really enjoyable. You have some great matchups to really talk about next week. Now you're at that point. Week 9, week 10, kind of winding down in the regular season. Now there's going to be some district championships on the line. There's still a lot to play for in the regular season. Playoff seedings, a lot of teams are maybe in the middle trying to win to host a playoff game, to have a home playoff game would be big as well. So there's a lot to play for in the next couple of games, and you have a lot to play for in the coming weeks. And you want to be playing your best football as we head into the playoffs. But I was talking to Jared Roser today, but I was like, man, this is crazy the season's flying by, right? But Jared kind of looked at it a different way. He said, like, well, technically you're still kind of halfway through the season. And I was like, I guess you are right if you consider not only the regular season, but the games you have left, week to week 15, week 16. So, yeah, you got 4 or 5 more extra weeks of playoff football. Yeah, I guess you're still kind of have the halfway point still. So that's a positive way to look at it. Well, guys, thank you so much. We're about to sign off. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in. Appreciate all the likes. And we tried something different tonight. We'll be doing this throughout the rest of the season. It took us a little bit. We had it running on Facebook throughout the season live. But now we're going to be live every Friday night on Facebook, on X, on YouTube as well. I know I think we had 200 people watching tonight, so that's a lot. So I appreciate you guys. No matter where you're watching it from, whether you're watching from Facebook or X or YouTube, whatever you're watching it from, please please share it out. Please subscribe. This is all about the high school athletes. We have a Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game at the end of the year too, so we'll be doing a lot of promotion of that as we go forward. But yeah, I mean, it's been really fun. I appreciate Coach Shiver as well, too. Appreciate Tommy's Windows for sponsoring us, and Coach Alfeed as well for coming on. The two coaches that came on tonight, I appreciate them. Guys, make sure you go to our website as well, gridironfootballusa.com, for all your latest scoop. So make sure you go to gridironfootballusa.com. Guys, have yourself a great football weekend. Enjoy your Saturday watching college football. Obviously, I'm going to be at LSU Texas A&M covering that football game. I got a game preview on the website. You want to check that out at gridironfootballusa.com. Enjoy your football weekend and check us out. We'll be once again back here next Friday night at 10:30 at the latest 11 o'clock, depending what game I'm going to next week. Haven't really decided what game because of the loaded schedule. Haven't decided what game I'm going to next week, but it should be another fun week. Winding down to the conclusion of the regular season, week 9 coming up. But guys, have yourself a great rest of your night, and thank you all for watching for another episode of Ballin in the Boot. Have a great night, everybody.